Hey there, good to see you back here in this mini-series on the common challenges in facilitation, where each episode we'll pick a challenge, we'll pick a scenario, and I'll give you some of my thoughts and my ideas about what you can do to overcome them. Let's get right into this video, dealing with difficult people. Welcome back, beautiful people. If this is the first video you see of me, my name is Yuri. I am full-time Dutch. I live in Singapore and I've been facilitating innovation for a long time. If you're new here, you might want to consider subscribing. I create weekly videos that are all about facilitation for innovation. In all fairness, I think even if you don't facilitate innovation per se, but maybe leadership, or maybe you're a scrum master, or maybe you're more into design thinking, I think a lot of the stuff in here might be super useful for you too. All right, let's get right into this video, dealing with difficult people. We've all dealt with difficult people in our lives, but particularly when you are facilitating a session, it can be very daunting to have a few very challenging personalities in the room. And before we get into this, I wanted to make a quick distinction between difficult people and difficult behavior, because I think once you detach it from personality, it will be easier to manage. If somebody is difficult, that's going to be very hard to change. If somebody is being difficult, well, that's a behavior which technically could be changed quite easily. The other one to consider is what is difficult, because what's difficult to you might not be difficult to me. Then again, we all know some difficult behaviors. Maybe it's the girl that just keeps asking questions like a 4-year-old child. Maybe it's that colleague that's just super rude and super condescending to other people in the team. Maybe it's that manager that just keeps showing off his intellect and his status. Or maybe it's the lady that just constantly needs a lot of attention. In short, we've all dealt with difficult behaviors. Now, the good news is I have some really simple tips which you can do to really deal with difficult behaviors and to avoid them in many situations. One of the easiest ways to avoid a lot of headache is by having what I like to call some behavioral agreements early on. These could be things like, we are going to be fully here. We're going to make sure that our minds are here and our bodies are here. So if people agree to be fully here and they get in and out of the room on their phone all the time, you can go, hang on guys, we agreed that we were going to be fully here. What's going on with that? Do you want us to change anything? But I think by having a couple of these behaviors, you can quickly signal to the group what is acceptable and what is not. The second one then is, if you have these behavioral agreements, you have to stick to them. You have to lead by example. What a lot of people forget is, as a facilitator, you are flying that plane. It doesn't mean that you are solely responsible, but when it comes to this process and this meeting and the facilitation, you're in charge. So if you're not doing it, they're not going to do it either. I've worked with people who just told the entire group to focus and to stay off their phones, to then be on their phone during every break. No, that's just bad behavior. You have to lead by example. And the third one, if all else fails, the behavioral agreements don't work, you leading by example doesn't work, well, then it is your responsibility as a facilitator to deal with difficult behaviors or disruptive behaviors. Not to be confused with sometimes people challenging you. There's nothing wrong with challenging. There's nothing wrong with questioning. Remember, your role as a facilitator is to get a group from A to B. You're making it easier. That's what facilitation means. You get them towards that outcome. But when somebody's being disruptive of that, is actually getting in the way or maybe even sabotaging it in a way, then it's your role as a facilitator to deal with that. Regardless of seniority, regardless of whether that's your client or not, that is your role and your duty as a facilitator. Now, maybe you deal with that with the entire group, where you give the responsibility back to the group, you call out certain behaviors and you ask the group how they want to deal with it. Or maybe it is a matter of literally having a conversation with that one individual that's displaying that difficult behavior that might just be very disruptive. And of course, you have to approach this person with a lot of respect and a lot of empathy, because my experience is many people that we like to think are being difficult, they might not be aware that they are doing it. So if you want to deal with difficult behavior, or you want to avoid difficult behavior, have a set of behaviors which you can all agree on. Either these are the behaviors we need to display, or these are the behaviors that we need to avoid. Second, lead by example. If one of the behaviors is all about being respectful, then display that through your behavior. Show what respect looks like. And if all else fails, you cannot turn a blind eye. You're going to have to deal with it, because your responsibility is to get people from A to B in a safe manner. And if anybody is disruptive in that, and if anybody gets in the way of that, it is your responsibility as a facilitator to step up and have that conversation with them. Oh, and clearly these are not the be-all end-all solutions to these. Many things depend on your style, they depend on the group, they depend on the context. So if you have any further questions, you have any builds, or you want to know something, just drop me a line below, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Hey, if you want to watch another video in this series on common challenges in facilitation, click this video over here. If you want to watch something completely different by me with different hairstyle, different shirt, click this video over here.